Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the people who survived more than one disaster.
At 6 pounds, 15 ounces, this little girl is a survivor and will have a big story to tell one day when she gets older.
But when this Swedish couple and their baby left home for a 4-month-long honeymoon trip, they couldn't have imagined the troubles ahead.
For this list, we're looking at some truly unlucky people, or lucky depending on how you look at it, who were unfortunate enough to suffer through more than one disaster. Luckily though, they made it out alive. Which of these stories is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Number 8. Rahmat Saiful Bahri. This Indonesian man survived 2 separate tsunamis. The first was the Boxing Day tsunami of 2004 that killed nearly 228,000 people across 14 countries.
An earthquake off the coast of Indonesia triggered a tsunami that surged across the Indian Ocean and reached as far as the coast of Africa. Whole sections of cities were destroyed.
Fortunately, Bachri was not among the victims. His life slowly returned to normal until 2018, when Bachri was visiting the island city of Palu. This was the location of the 2018 Sulawesi earthquake and tsunami, which claimed the lives of 4,340 people.
People have also been trapped under destroyed homes, hotels, and a shopping mall.
Bachri felt the earthquake while showering in his hotel room and quickly made his way up to the 5th floor to avoid the resulting wave. Bahri's calm under pressure and clever thinking resulted in his survival yet again. Unfortunately, some of his friends were not so lucky. After running to the ground floor, they were swept up by the tsunami.
It will take Palu and its residents a long time to recover from what was destroyed in just a matter of seconds. And some wounds may never heal.
He credits his double survival to God, telling the BBC, quote, "This shows that God still loves me." Number 7. Zachrul Fuari. Rahmat Saiful Bahri is not the only person to have survived 2 tsunamis. He shares that distinction with Zachrul Fuari. Fuari was another victim of the Boxing Day tsunami. His house was destroyed by the water, but Fuari and his family survived by escaping on a motorcycle. As he told ABC, quote, "I was running away from the Aceh tsunami back then and thinking that was the end of the world." He then moved to Japan and became a doctoral student. Unfortunately, it was here that he was affected by another earthquake and tsunami. In March of 2011, Japan's Tohoku region was struck by the most powerful earthquake in the country's history, resulting in a tsunami that killed nearly 16,000 people.
In Kesanuma, people retreated to a high-rise rooftop and could only watch in horror as tsunami waves inundated their city.
Fortunately, Fuari and his family were on campus at the time and were spared the deadly waves. However, they were still left without power or water. Number 6. Caspar Polemos. The story of Caspar Polemos remains hard to verify, but it has been officially reported in a 2004 publication of Ripley's Believe It or Not. Born in France, Polemos supposedly survived 3 different shipwrecks in the late 19th century. The first came in July of 1875 when the Jeanne Catherine sank off the city of Brest, France. Tragedy struck again in September 1880 when the Trois Frères met disaster in the Bay of Biscay. Polemos probably should have sworn off ships following a second sinking, but no. Just 16 months after surviving the wreck of the Trois Frères, Polemos faced disaster yet again when l'Odéon sank off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. He survived his 3rd and final shipwreck, and we can only assume never set foot on another ship for the rest of his life. Someone up there must have really liked Mr. Polemos. Number 5. Wenman Wykeham-Musgrave. If you think Caspar Polemos had it bad, just wait until you hear about this poor man. Wenman Wykeham-Musgrave was a Navy midshipman aboard the HMS Aboukir during the First World War. The armored cruiser was patrolling an area of sea off the Dutch coast and was accompanied by the HMS Hogue and HMS Cressy. Unfortunately, they came across the infamous German U-boat U-9. The submarine torpedoed the Aboukir, sending Wykeham-Musgrave into the water. He successfully swam to the Hogue, but this too was torpedoed soon after his arrival. Alive but weak and tired, Wykeham-Musgrave swam to the Cressy, only for this ship to be sunk by a torpedo in kind. Like Rose in Titanic, Wykeham-Musgrave floated on a piece of wood in the open ocean before he was rescued by a trawler. In the span of just 1 hour, all 3 cruisers sank, and approximately 1,450 people were killed, striking a major blow to the Royal Navy's reputation. Number 4. Stefan and Erika Stenstrm.
It should have been the holiday of a lifetime. But when this Swedish couple and their baby left home for a 4-month-long honeymoon trip, they couldn't have imagined the troubles ahead.
This Swedish couple faced the honeymoon from hell in 2011. The Stenstrms loved to travel, and to commemorate their wedding, they embarked on a 4-month-long adventure honeymoon spanning multiple countries and continents. They brought their baby daughter Eleanor along for the trip. In Indonesia, they experienced a monsoon that ripped the roof off their bus. In Australia, they faced a bushfire in Perth, and then a cyclone in Cairns, resulting in their evacuation by the Australian Red Cross. In Japan, the family of 3 was in Tokyo during the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. They also narrowly missed disaster in Christchurch, New Zealand, as that city was rocked by an earthquake right before their flight there. They were subsequently redirected to Auckland. Luckily, the Stenstrm family made it through each misfortune unharmed. They certainly experienced adventure, but it probably wasn't the type they had in mind.
We also came to Brisbane in Australia driving after the floodings, so that's a shorty of what happened.
Number 3. Gabriella Cohen.
She crossed 5 states during the first 2 weeks of her life.
Some people are so unbelievably unlucky that they experienced 2 devastating hurricanes before they're even a month old. Little Gabriella Cohen was born on August 20th, 2017. That same month, Hurricane Harvey rocked Texas and Louisiana, resulting in $125 billion in damage and over 100 deaths. Once Hurricane Harvey moved on from Houston, Gabriella's parents, Bruce and Jessica, decided to head to their second home in Miami. It was then that they learned about Hurricane Irma,
a disastrous, deadly Category 4 hurricane just off the coast of Florida. Feedings at the gas station and diaper changes in the car, the family of 3 had to evacuate again.
Forming in late August, Irma struck Florida in early September, causing 84 deaths in that state alone. All told, Irma claimed the lives of at least 134 people. The Cohens successfully evacuated Miami and drove to Alabama, where they waited out the devastating storm in a hotel. Young Gabriella was given the nickname Storm owing to her penchant for surviving them.
At 6 pounds, 15 ounces, this little girl is a survivor and will have a big story to tell one day when she gets older.
Number 2. Violet Jessup. It turns out quite a few people have survived multiple shipwrecks. An Irishman named William Clark survived the sinkings of both the Titanic and the Empress of Ireland. George Beecham is said to have survived both the Titanic and the Lusitania. But neither of these men can compete with Violet Jessup. Jessup was working as a stewardess on the RMS Olympic when, in 1911, it collided with the HMS Hawke. Luckily, there were no fatalities, but the following year she worked on the Titanic, escaping on Lifeboat 16 as it sank.
God almighty.
During the First World War, she worked for the British Red Cross and survived the sinking of the HMHS Britannic, which hit a deep-sea mine. She had to leap out of her lifeboat to avoid the ship's propellers. Despite all this, Jessup returned to work for the White Star Line. She was given the nickname Miss Unsinkable and lived to be 83 years old. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Stomu Yamaguchi. This man has experienced true terror.
I have walked and crawled through the bottom of hell. I should be dead, but it was my fate to keep on living.
And statistically speaking, he may just be the unluckiest man in history. Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima on business when the Enola Gay dropped a little boy on the city. The bomb detonated just 3 kilometers from Yamaguchi's location, resulting in radiation burns, temporary blindness, and ruptured eardrums.
Solid matter began to come apart, releasing untold quantities of energy.
Despite the horrific injuries, Yamaguchi was back at work just 3 days later in his hometown of Nagasaki. While Yamaguchi was discussing the Hiroshima bombing with his boss, Boxcar dropped Fat Man on the city.
The second bomb was intended for the city of Kokura, but it was too cloudy, so the plane moved on to Nagasaki. Desperately short of fuel, the crew released the bomb despite more clouds.
Despite being just 3 kilometers away from the bomb's detonation, yes, again, Yamaguchi was uninjured. He was officially recognized by the Japanese government as a survivor of both atomic bombings, and he went on to live a long life, dying in 2010 at age 93. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.